Have you ever wondered why some women shine, not because of wealth, not because of beauty, but because of their wisdom? A truly smart woman is not one who only knows how to live, but one who knows how to live with grace, balance, and connection with God. When a woman aligns her intelligence with higher values, she becomes unstoppable, not just successful, but truly respected. Today, I want to share with you not just the idea of being smart in terms of knowledge or education, but being smart in terms of how you live, how you think, how you connect with people, and most importantly, how you connect with God. A smart woman is not the one who competes to prove her worth, but the one who uses her inner strength, patience, and wisdom to transform her life and inspire others. When God becomes the center of her decisions, her journey becomes clear, her actions powerful, and her presence inspiring. Wisdom is one of the most precious gifts that God has given us, yet it is often the most ignored. In life, every woman will face opinions, sometimes uplifting, sometimes discouraging. People will always have something to say. Some will admire you, some will judge you, and some will even misunderstand you. But here is the truth: if you live your life constantly trying to please people, you will end up losing yourself. A smart woman is not the one who bends to every opinion like a leaf in the wind, but the one who knows how to listen with respect, filter with wisdom, and then act according to her own values and God's guidance. Think about this. When a person gives you an opinion, it is often colored by their own insecurities, their own fears, or their own expectations. Imagine you're walking down the street wearing a bright yellow dress. One person may say, "Wow, you look radiant, so cheerful." Another might say, "That color is too loud, it doesn't suit you." Who is right? The answer is neither. Because it's not about their opinion, it's about your choice. If you wear that dress with confidence, with the grace that God has given you, then it becomes beautiful. Wisdom means understanding that opinions are temporary reflections of other people's minds, but your life is the reality you create with God's light. A smart woman doesn't ignore everyone. No, she listens. But she listens carefully, like someone sifting sand for gold. She takes what is useful, what aligns with truth, and leaves the rest behind without anger. For example, suppose a colleague at work says, "You're too soft, you'll never be able to lead a team." Instead of feeling broken, the smart woman reflects, "Am I truly being soft in a way that harms my growth? Or is my kindness my strength?" If her kindness is balanced with wisdom, she keeps it proudly. If she sees room for growth, she improves. That is wisdom, not to reject all opinions, not to swallow all opinions, but to process them with a God-centered mind. Let us remember that even the most powerful women in history faced endless criticism. Leaders, thinkers, mothers, teachers, none of them were free from judgment. Some were mocked for their choices, others for their dreams, but they did not allow the noise of opinions to silence their purpose. Why? Because they anchored their life in something higher than society's approval. They anchored it in truth, in values, and in God. Wisdom is also about timing. There are moments when silence is the best answer to opinions. Imagine being in a heated family discussion where everyone wants to prove they are right. A smart woman knows that sometimes speaking less is more powerful than speaking more. She lets others exhaust their arguments, and when the right moment arrives, she shares her thought, calm, clear, and firm. And suddenly, her words carry more weight than the noise around her. That is wisdom over opinions. Another daily life example is on social media. Today, people live in a world of comments, likes, and judgments. A smart woman does not let her mood rise and fall with the number of likes on a post. She understands that a picture may capture attention for a moment, but her character, her integrity, and her connection with God will last far longer. She uses social media wisely to inspire, to share, to uplift, not to seek empty validation. And most importantly, wisdom protects a woman's peace. When she is wise, she no longer wastes her energy on arguments that don't matter. She doesn't fight to prove her worth in every conversation. She doesn't respond to every insult thrown at her. She saves her strength for battles that align with her purpose. Imagine a lion walking through the jungle. Do you think the lion stops to bark back at every dog? No. The lion walks with dignity because it knows its own strength. In the same way, a smart woman guided by wisdom walks forward without being disturbed by unnecessary opinions. Wisdom also reminds her that even when people criticize, sometimes they are teaching her patience. Even when people misunderstand, sometimes they are helping her become stronger. Every difficult opinion becomes like a stone. And the smart woman, instead of carrying it, uses it to build her foundation. She thanks God not only for the voices that praise her, but also for the voices that test her. Because through both, she learns to depend less on the world and more on her inner compass. And here is the beauty. When a woman lives with wisdom over opinions, she becomes a lighthouse. Others notice her calmness, her clarity, her confidence. She becomes the one people come to for advice. They may not admit it, but deep down they respect her because she does not get shaken easily. And this respect is not demanded. It is earned through her consistency, her balance, and her faith. So to every woman listening, never let the shifting winds of opinions dictate the direction of your life. Anchor yourself in God's wisdom. Filter every word through your values. Respect others, but do not lose yourself. Because the world will always have something to say, but the smart woman knows that her true worth does not come from people's opinions. It comes from the wisdom of God guiding her steps. Emotional intelligence is one of the greatest signs of a truly smart woman. It is not about suppressing emotions, and it is not about being cold or distant. It is about knowing when to speak, when to remain silent, and when to walk away. It is about balancing the heart and the mind so that neither overpowers the other. A woman who masters her emotions does not let anger control her, nor does she let sadness weaken her, nor does she let excitement blind her. She lives with awareness, with calmness, and with wisdom that radiates strength. We all know that life is full of situations that test our emotions. At home, a family member may speak harshly without reason. At work, a colleague may try to take credit for something you did. In relationships, people may sometimes misunderstand your intentions. In all these situations, emotions will rise naturally: anger, frustration, disappointment, sadness. But a smart woman knows that while she cannot control what people do, she can always control how she responds. And that is the real strength, not reacting blindly, but responding consciously. Imagine this: you are cooking a meal after a long, tiring day. Suddenly, someone in your family complains, "This food is too salty." At that moment, you feel irritation rising inside you. After all, you worked hard, and instead of appreciation, you receive criticism. An untrained mind reacts, immediately snapping back. If you don't like it, cook yourself. But a woman with emotional intelligence breathes, pauses, and then calmly replies, "Thank you for your feedback. Next time I'll adjust it." By choosing not to explode, she saves her peace and keeps harmony in the house. That does not mean she suppresses her feelings. It means she expresses them at the right time, and in the right way. Emotional intelligence is not weakness, it is strength of the highest level. Because anyone can get angry, anyone can shout, anyone can lose control. But it takes great inner power to remain composed in the middle of chaos. Just like a strong tree that does not fall when the winds blow, a woman with emotional intelligence stands tall no matter what storms surround her. One of the key aspects of emotional intelligence is empathy, the ability to understand what others are feeling. A smart woman doesn't just hear words, she listens to emotions behind those words. When a child throws a tantrum, she doesn't only see the noise, she senses the frustration inside. When a friend speaks rudely, she doesn't only see the sharp words, she tries to understand the pain hidden behind them. This empathy allows her to build strong relationships because people feel safe around her. They know she will not judge them immediately, but try to understand them. Take the example of a workplace environment. Suppose a team member is always late to meetings. Instead of labeling her as lazy, a woman with emotional intelligence may approach her and say gently, "I've noticed you're struggling to be on time. Is everything okay?" Perhaps she discovers that the colleague has a sick parent at home and is under stress. By choosing empathy over judgment, she builds trust and earns respect. And that is the mark of a truly smart woman. She doesn't just see the surface, she sees the depth. But emotional intelligence also means setting boundaries. It is not about tolerating everything silently. A smart woman knows when to speak up firmly. If someone disrespects her repeatedly, she does not explode in anger, but she also does not accept the behavior quietly. She calmly but firmly states, "This is not acceptable to me." Her voice is steady, her tone clear. She doesn't let emotions drive her into aggression, but she also doesn't allow fear to trap her in silence. This balance makes her powerful. Another important part of emotional intelligence is self-awareness. A smart woman observes her own emotions like clouds passing through the sky. She recognizes, right now I am feeling irritated. Right now I am feeling anxious. Just by acknowledging her feelings, she prevents them from taking control of her. Many times, people make poor decisions because they are unaware of how emotions are influencing them. They quit a job in anger, break a relationship in frustration, or spend money recklessly in excitement. But a woman who has trained herself emotionally waits, reflects, and acts wisely. Let us remember, emotional intelligence is not about perfection. It's about progress. Even the smartest women get upset. Even the strongest women cry. Even the calmest women lose their patience sometimes. But the difference is, they bounce back faster. They don't allow emotions to drown them for long. They rise again, they reflect, they learn. Every experience becomes a lesson that makes them stronger. And here is the most beautiful part. Emotional intelligence makes a woman's presence soothing. People feel peace in her company because they know she won't magnify conflicts. She becomes like water in a fire, cooling, calming, healing. Her children grow in an environment of understanding. Her friends feel supported. Her colleagues respect her balance. And deep inside, she feels light because she is not a slave to emotions, she is their master. So to every woman listening, do not underestimate the power of emotional intelligence. Train your heart to feel, but train your mind to guide those feelings. When anger comes, pause. When sadness comes, reflect. When joy comes, enjoy without losing balance. And when challenges come, walk with faith. Because the smartest woman is not the one who never feels, but the one who feels deeply and yet chooses her responses wisely. That is real intelligence. intelligence of the heart. Self-respect is the foundation of a truly smart woman's life. Without it, every achievement feels incomplete, every relationship feels heavy, and every success feels hollow. Respecting yourself is not about arrogance, and it is not about looking down on others. It is about knowing your worth, standing firmly in your values, and teaching the world how you deserve to be treated. A woman who honors her self-respect naturally earns respect from others, not because she demands it, but because she reflects it in her every action. From the very beginning, society tries to shape women into roles that often demand sacrifice. Sacrifice is noble when it is chosen from strength, but when sacrifice comes from fear or low self-worth, it becomes dangerous. A smart woman understands this difference. She knows that caring for her family, her work, or her loved ones should never mean neglecting her own dignity. She remembers that God has given her life not to be trampled on, but to walk with grace and confidence. Think about a simple example. Imagine a woman who always says yes to everyone. Her boss asks her to stay late, she says yes. Her friend asks for a favor, she says yes. Her relatives take her time for granted, she still says yes. At first, people appreciate her kindness, but slowly they stop valuing it because it becomes expected. She begins to feel drained, unappreciated, and invisible. Why? Because when you don't respect your own limits, people forget to respect them too. A smart woman learns to say no when necessary, not with anger but with clarity. She knows that every no to what harms her is a yes to her peace, her health, and her self-worth. Boundaries are not walls, they are doors. They don't shut people out, but they show people how to enter respectfully. For example, in relationships, a woman with self-respect does not tolerate constant disrespect, lies, or manipulation. She does not shout or fight unnecessarily, but she clearly communicates, "This behavior is not acceptable to me." By setting that boundary, she is not being rude, she is being wise. Because love without respect is not love, it is dependency. And a smart woman chooses love that honors her dignity. Even in daily interactions, self-respect shines through. Imagine being in a group where everyone is gossiping about someone else. A woman with self-respect doesn't lower herself into that negativity just to fit in. She remains polite, but she doesn't join the conversation. Later, people may laugh at her silence, but deep down, they admire her integrity. Respect begins when you respect yourself enough not to engage in things that lower your value. Self-respect also means valuing your time. Time is life itself, and wasting it on people or activities that drain you is the same as disrespecting your own existence. A smart woman chooses her circle wisely. She doesn't stay in friendships where she is constantly put down. She doesn't spend hours comparing herself to others on social media. Instead, she invests her time in growth, learning, and nurturing relationships that uplift her. She knows that her time is precious because every moment is a gift from God. Let's take another example. A woman is invited to every event, every gathering, every party. She feels pressured to attend, even when she is tired, even when she needs rest. Slowly she begins to feel burnt out. But a smart woman with self-respect chooses differently. She may say, "Thank you for inviting me, but tonight I need to rest." That simple act of honoring her need for rest is a form of self-respect. And the beauty is, when she values her own energy, others learn to value it too. Many women confuse self-respect with selfishness, but they are not the same. Selfishness means thinking only of yourself, ignoring others completely. Self-respect means honoring yourself while still caring for others. It is about balance. A mother who respects herself teaches her children the value of dignity. A wife who respects herself teaches her husband the meaning of partnership. A leader who respects herself inspires her team to walk with confidence. Self-respect is never selfish. It is a source of inspiration for everyone around you. And let us not forget, self-respect is deeply connected with God. When a woman believes that God created her with care, with purpose, with love, she cannot treat herself as unworthy. She cannot allow herself to be disrespected endlessly. Because she knows her soul carries divine value. Every time she stands up for her dignity, she honors the one who created her. The beauty of self-respect is that it creates peace. When a woman respects herself, she no longer chases approval desperately. She no longer begs for attention. She no longer allows people to take her for granted. She becomes calm, confident, and graceful. And others naturally admire her because people always sense the quiet strength of someone who knows their worth. So to every woman listening, respect yourself enough to walk away from what lowers you. Respect yourself enough to say no when needed. Respect yourself enough to protect your time, your energy, and your dignity. When you respect yourself, the world learns to respect you too. And remember, God has given you this life not to be lived in fear, but to be lived with courage and honor. A smart woman never forgets this truth. Self-respect is not an option. It is the foundation of her strength,